Thank you. Mr. Akin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to start by making a distinction between two things, and I have to say that I don't have so many questions as answers. We still get 5 minutes for answers, so I'm going to just give you a little bit of where I'm coming from sitting in this committee. The first thing is what you've done. You started at the beginning of the year, decided we're going to cut defense by $78 billion, make some big changes in various programs, and a whole series of decisions. The question is, were those all good decisions or not? That's one question. The second point, though, is how you did it. The U.S. Constitution requires the members of this committee to be involved and be part of the decisions for national security. The end of last year, this committee was approached on the fact that we had an opportunity to get 2 purchases for 10 littoral combat ships, which was different than what we had planned. At the last minute, we were said, this would be a good idea for the Navy. It saves us some money, and it's a good thing to do. We took a look at the numbers in a very compressed time frame, passed legislation, and supported the Navy in that decision, even though we had no idea that it was coming till a week or so before, a couple weeks before, when we actually made the legislation and got it done. We worked with you as co-partners. This month, we receive like a CC on a general press release to the public that we've made all of these unilateral decisions, and we had no idea a bunch of them were even coming. The expeditionary fighting vehicle strikes me as one where the assumptions are very thin. It appears that we are almost canceling a capability in order to make a $78 billion cut on the surface. We'll look into it. But my concern is that you are trying to make, or you have inadvertently made this committee irrelevant because you're not keeping us in the loop, informing us of what you're looking at. That has gotten progressively worse over 10 years to where it is right now. And that's unacceptable, at least to me as a subcommittee chair, and I believe I may speak for a few other members of this committee that we want to be part of the decision-making process. If you go back 200 years and look at the history of our national defense, you find that it's a partnership between military and civilians, and both sides play a role in that, and at times the civilian side, that is this committee, has made recommendations in 20/20 hindsight that have turned out to be very good military decisions, such as, among other things, arming predators. And I don't think this committee will tolerate being left out of the process of decision-making. So we will have our hearings, and we will look into those decisions, and the decisions that we think are poor, we will not be shy about explaining why we think those are poor decisions. But I just think it's clear in January, when we're starting off on a new foot, that we understand each other, and I'm going to try to explain it so that you understood where we're coming from, because we don't like to be called at the last minute and said, I talked to the Secretary of the Navy 2 days ago, and I said, I'm very concerned about cutting the defense budget. He said, oh, there's not any cuts to the defense budget that he knew of. Well, we had a speech last night that talked about it. Now, to the overall concept, I think it is in your best interest to use us as part of your team to help you do your jobs. I think it's foolish to ignore us, because here's what's going on. You want to take a big look at where we are budget-wise in this country. You take your entitlements, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, add the other entitlements, and then add service on the debt, which is like an entitlement, because when we sell a U.S. Treasury or something, we have to keep paying the interest like a little machine that spits out dollar bills. We can't not pay that. So you take all those entitlements together, add them up. Right now, those entitlements are equal to the revenue that we take in as a nation. So you can cut defense to zero, cut discretionary spending to zero, and we're still just even. You cannot pay for entitlements by cutting defense, but you can destroy our country by cutting defense. Now, you want to take a look at some concerning numbers. If you take a look at defense spending as a percent of total budget authority, we are now, with these proposed cuts, to the same place we were in '98 when we hollowed out our forces. That's the kind of thing that it's our job to be concerned with, and our job to go to bat and say to the Budget Committee, wait a minute, we really can't take defense. We can't take the Marines and deny them the capability to go from ship to shore. And if you want to put new engines in some vehicles that date back to the Korean era, and they can go from 4 to 6 knots. Somehow or other, I'm not seeing that as a very workable solution, with all due respect to my good friends from the Marine Corps. I know you're trying to do what you think you got to do budget-wise, but some of these decisions need to be run by this committee first, and I just want to put a marker down. Mr. Chairman, if I'm a little too strong, correct me, but that's my strong sense. There needs to be partnership. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Ms. Davis.